Hello and welcome back, our dear viewers, to our first segment for today and our first distinguished guest, a medical engineer with a master's degree in the field from the University of Virginia in the USA. She is passionate about the field of rehabilitation as a means to improving health and wellness. She has a deep understanding of the challenges of people face due to medical conditions or disabilities. She's a strong believer in multidisciplinary team approach to supporting patients on their journey to recovery. So for that, please, let's welcome Sunita Mathew, Director Private Med Business Director. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marzouk. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
It's our pleasure, actually. So diving deep into the topic itself, how we can find solutions and a better way for people so they can cope with the injuries they could have.
It starts with discharge planning. When a patient has a medical event or an injury, they will usually be in the hospital, and then they are ready to go home. At the time of going home, there is a service that needs to be engaged in the hospitals, which is discharge planning. Discharge planning is how to help a patient at home recover and get back to their lifestyle as much as possible.
After injury.
After the injury, you're in the hospital. You finished your medical stay, and now you're going home. At that point, the hospital staff should do a discharge plan. So they need to talk to the nurses, they need to talk to the families and tell them, and family members, very important to support the patient, especially if the patient has a long-term illness.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So in that field, you are trying to raise awareness for the family members so they can understand how to cope and help the patient himself.
Yes, because what's happened is that the patient is now in a new environment, a new situation, right? They were able to do something before, something now has happened medically, and now they need to go home and their life has changed. In some cases, they're not able to walk again as they used to, so now they have a wheelchair. So now how do I get around in the house? How do I do my daily living? So there's a lot of help needed until they get used to the new situation. So this requires a lot of multidisciplinary team approach. So you need a nurse, you need psychologist, you need dietitian, you need an engineer to modify the surroundings, you need physiotherapy, occupational therapy. So we need to approach it in a holistic view.
That's really interesting. It seems like a collaboration of team members.
Absolutely.
So they can achieve a great project.
Yes, yes.
That's really cool.
Because it's a very different mindset for the patients now. They were used to something, and now they are used to something else. So they have a lot of pain, and that is making them very depressed. So you really have to tackle many, many aspects that are new for the patient.
Of course, and you can correct me if I'm right or wrong. This could be more of a mental challenge than it's a physical challenge.
It is first a mental challenge. You need to overcome the mental barriers because we're all used to a certain medical status, and now something has changed. So first mentally we have to get used to it, and then only physically that will follow. So you need help from therapists and psychologists through the stage.
That's really interesting.
There's a very strong connection between mind and body.
Yes.
So your mind has to be strong for your body to follow. Your body leads, and then your mind feels like, okay, it is possible. So there is a strong connection, mind to body, body to mind.
That's really lovely. It's you have to believe it before you can be able to achieve it. And with that term, how can modern, mobility help the patient to become more independent on himself?
The modern aids, unlike before, right? You have wheelchairs, scooters, they're light, they're safer. So easy for people to go out back into the community. So you want to go to the Jamia, now you can do it easily. Before it was heavy, I couldn't move it, now I can drive myself. You can get out of your house, whereas before you maybe had 3-4 steps to get out of the house, now you have a lift that can take you out easily. So they're lighter, they're stronger, and they have longer batteries. So it gives patients an option to go out and re-enter and re-socialize.
And be fully independent on himself without feeling like he needs to be dependent on someone else.
We cannot say they're fully independent because then they will be walking, but they are as independent as they could be. So that's the role of the team, to make them as independent as they can be.
Okay, and in that term, what should the families consider when they are trying to have a mobility aid in their houses?
Right. One of the things that they need to engage is someone who understands the patient's disability and the options on the mobility aids. So this is typically a therapist or a health advisor or someone who knows the equipment well, because you need to know what the patient has as new limitations. You need to understand what they would like to do. You need to understand what are the barriers in the home. and you need to understand where would they like to go. So you need to assess all of this.
Exactly.
Sometimes people just come and say, I want that wheelchair, but it's not necessarily considering
just because
the
like
whole,
kind of modern and the new, they just want it.
They want it, and that's all they see. So we're not, I often say that this whole field of rehabilitation, it's not like cucumbers and tomatoes where everyone knows the names and knows the words. Everything is new. Nobody knows it. So you need to take time to understand what are all the options before you choose.
Before you choose.
Yeah.
So it's not about like the features that device has, even if it like has a lot of features.
No.
It's just about what you really need in your daily
Yes,
life.
how do the features help you with what you need?
With what you need.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah. And of course, like there were like a lot of patients that you have encountered and experienced with. Was there like any distinguished experience or like a story that you remember? Like someone was like having an injury and then they kind of find it challenging?
Yes, yes. So I have a situation of a young girl who had a very severe disease and she grew up the entire life with so many surgeries, and we were so proud when she went to college herself, and she lives by herself, a very severe disability. So she travels on the plane by herself. When she has to, the wheelchair is unloaded and put into the back of into the cargo, but she has to go to the bathroom. She does all this herself, and then she comes back and goes on, and she lives by herself and goes to university, and she's a graphics designer now.
And she was able to cope with that.
Cope with that.
Injury and become like even greater.
Yes.
They say like what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yes, absolutely. She's more powerful than all of us mentally.
That's really inspiring. And when something like happened to someone for the first time, like an injury or like an accident or whatever like situation, that make them like incapable of doing what they used to do before.
Yeah.
What are the first signs that you notice in the patients?
When I think you will start to see that they're not motivated to move. So if we're talking about them at home. Now in the hospital, the medical setup, that is the doctors, the nurses, the therapists will detect this.
Yes.
But we'll just say that this situation is happening at home after they have been discharged. The family members should look to see what is the motivation to do their daily living activities. You know, are they feeding themselves? Are they interested to go out of the bed and go and move by themselves? Are they wanting to talk to family? Because you need to detect depression, and if you're detecting depression and not an interest in getting back to daily life, you need to involve a psychologist. This is a very big point that's missed, because once they're at home, the families think that, oh, this is going to be the rest of their life, but it's not the case. With just a little bit of motivation, you can get the patient to feel like they have some level of independence, some interest in moving, and that will change their mindset to get back to life.
That's very powerful.
It's very unfortunate in Kuwait that once a patient is at home, they're off the radar. They're not seen. Yeah,
and that like pulled me to my other question. Like, so your work doesn't only like be in the medical department, it's also like exceeded to the house, reaching them out.
Yes, yes, we do a lot of home care services as well. And immediately after discharge from the hospital, this phase is very sensitive, 2, 3, 4 weeks. If you don't get the patient to think that there is hope, and you don't get them to move a little bit, whatever they can move, they start to get even
rejection,
more deconditioned and mentally rejecting that there is no hope for them.
There's no hope.
The goal of all the family members and the therapists is to bring them a little bit of hope. They have a little bit of spark, little by little they do a bit more, and they feel like, okay, there is more that I can do. It has to come from inside. And everyone on the outside is just making their challenge a little bit less and giving them a chance to do a little bit more until they see that, okay, I can do it.
I can do it by myself.
It has to come from inside.
Exactly.
And our whole role is just to give them a little bit of hope.
It's like planting a seed and then waiting for it to grow and flourish.
Exactly. We are trying to find that seed within them. We are just putting a little water on that seed.
That's
the seed is within them.
I love that. I love that. Like such a beautiful metaphor, actually. And so how did like the new technology has changed the mobility aid like a system and the way they work in the recent years?
Okay, the new technologies. First, if you talk about mobility aids or any kind of medical equipment at home,
yes,
they're lighter. The materials are much stronger, lighter. Batteries are longer lasting. So if you have an electric scooter, for instance, right? You don't have to just use it for half an hour and wonder, okay, battery will be out and I have to come home. You can have a longer journey. You can go to the mall, go shopping, go have dinner. You can go out, go do all your errands, go to the hospital, have your medical checkups. So these technologies, they're lighter, they're stronger, and also a lot of self-driving. So they have sensors on the side, so they can, you know, they can have an easier time with navigating the chairs. So yeah, it's
That's
fantastic.
really impressive.
Yeah.
Like, so nowadays, like, the material is made of something lighter.
Yes.
Same time, like at the same time, like, it's very sturdy.
Very sturdy.
And powerful.
Some of the new things is they'll climb the staircase. So if you, let's say you're going to the ministry and there is no platform lift, you'll have wheelchairs that will climb the staircase.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not more like about just elevator that you are limited to.
No, you can have wheelchairs.
Take the
yes,
stairs.
they will climb the stairs safely.
Wow, that's really amazing.
A huge amount of independence that comes to someone who's now, you know, before would have to stay at the bottom of the stairs and they can't go
and waiting
up.
For their line and time passing and
yeah.
Very, very powerful and amazing actually. And sometimes, like, regarding the new technology, there's like the 3D insoles.
Yes.
How they are different from the regular insoles like people used to?
Okay, so I'll just take a little time to explain what is the purpose of an insole.
Yes.
Okay, so when manufacturers build shoes, they're building it on averages, size 38, 37, 39, whatever, you know, the sizes of the shoes and standard shapes.
Okay.
Now your foot and my foot is not exactly that average. So there's a difference in the shape of my foot and the shape of my shoe.
Like some people, maybe they have a flat foot.
Yes, yes, so the shape is different. So the insoles are intended to be a nice, comfortable interface between the foot, our feet, and the shoes. So you build a custom insole by taking the measurement of our feet on a scanner. And before, people would hand make the insole. Now the 3D insoles are using 3D printers. So you take a scan. Yes, it's customized because it's your foot. Your foot, we scan, and then an image goes into a computer interface. And if someone has a medical issue like diabetes, then the technician will actually make changes in the shape of the insole, and then it's printed. So there's a scanner, an interface to make an adjustment, and then it is printed. And if the printing turns out to be a little uncomfortable, you just reprint. So it's very simple. Before, something that would take 7 days now takes 3 hours. So it's very fast.
3 hours? 3 hours from 7 days to 3 hours. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
That's really superb, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's
well,
really
thank you so much, Dr. Sunita Mathew, for being with us here on the show and enlightening us about like how mobility has changed and also like helping people becoming like more independent so they can be back to their normal life, achieve what they used to achieve, and even in a greater way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marzouk.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And now, dear viewers, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back, so stay tuned for the following segments.